it's Verse-Converse, as conversing in verse. And that's what has been happening in this room and at the Alley Cantina for the last 3 days, and you all, whether you were part of that or you're just coming into it now, see if you can sense and feel the fact that there's been a tremendous quality of energy, of expression, of courage, of truth-telling, of listening out and listening in.
It is a poem like a wall. We write up to it, we back up. We might even get close to touch it, you know, we back up. All the material that you need to access, that poem resides on the other side of that wall. So this is 13 ways of looking at 13. Come here, girl! Even your mother's calling you birds. 3. Miss Stein scribbled a word on the blackboard, said, "Who can pronounce this?" And the word was anemone. And from that moment you first felt the clutter of possible in your mouth, from the time you stumbled through the rhythm and she slow smiled, you suddenly knew you had the right to be explosive, to sling syllables through back doors, to make up your own damn words if you needed. Suddenly you know why you are stitched so tight, crammed like a flash bomb in a pinafore, obeying your mama's instructions to be a baby as long as you can. Because it's a man's world, and James Brown is gasoline. The other side of slow zippers. He is all of it. The pump, pump, the growled, please, please, please.
Sometime in April in 1994, armed Hutu soldiers entered a small school in Rwanda and opened fire on a classroom full of children.
One of the survivors later testified that her best friend's last words were, "Please don't kill me. I'll stop being Tutsi."
Somewhere in Africa, an elephant will stand at the foot of a lifeless calf for 6 days before being forcibly pulled away by the herd.
Exactly 1 year later to the day, that same elephant will return to stand and mourn the decaying bones for another 3 days before once again being forcibly pulled away.
This is more than metaphor, it happened. Wake up for 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Because no poet is greater than his best poem.
And no individual is more important than the collective we that is mankind. And the 87 cents a day that I pledge to save one child's life just does not feel like enough. So tonight, I want to say something overtly poetic for the children of Africa. Something like, in Africa, they plant children in the ground and grow angels. This is more than metaphor. It happens. And somewhere in Africa, a mother will stand at the foot of a small white coffin for days before being forcibly pulled away by her people.
My heart palpitates when I recall afternoon tea times, late night desserts, and midnight conversations with everyone's mom but mine. When I finally shock myself back to reality, the EKG keeps a pace that sounds too much like hers. All I can hear are the monsters gnawing greedily underneath my bed. There is no steady, sweet lullaby to dream to. No one to hold me close and whisper in my ear that everything is gonna be okay, because everything isn't okay.
The barber that I remember, his name was Terrell, and Terrell constantly was talking about how much sex he was going to have, even though you know he hadn't had any since the Eisenhower administration. So that was his spiel. So when I talk to people about writing persona poems, and this is in my class, I say sometimes the personas that are closest to you are the easy. You know, you all have those voices from your childhood you've heard over and over again, and you can mimic them, you know, and just, what do they talk about all the time? Well, Terrell was so easy. You know, man, it's 2000. Ain't nobody got no time for that grease trickling all down their neck, especially how it is out there. Come here, let me clip that stuff out. Let those naps grow out. You know, a couple of weeks, I will hook you up with a fade. The sisters don't like putting their hands in that greasy mess. What's that song she sang? Ain't no way? Well, I guess it sure ain't. She got one chance, though. If you stay alive long enough, time will make you skinny. I just don't know if she got that much time. I've been doing this 40 years. This is Terrell's Afrocentric Barbershop Fade Palace and Wild Style Emporium. Now put your ass in my chair and put your head in my hands.